Costello began videotaping his binge drinking so he could observe his blackouts. After waking from several drunken blackouts and finding evidence of activity, he saw the recordings as a way to learn what went on inside of him when not even he was there to judge himself. He knew the governor was off, and this would help him confront whatever it was grounding him alone with every bout of depression. There lay the first of many puzzling toasts he found scribbled on aluminum foil with red Sharpie. Here's to drowning at noon in the Panama Canal. Fucking your neighbor in the Garden of Eden. And tying it all together with what's left of string theory. He caught himself toasting empty chairs a few weeks before waking up to unsightly scenes left behind by his drunken doppelganger. However, those toasts were simple, very best man-ish. Here's to hearts growing fonder, a life filled with love, and catching all your typos. These gave him an intoxicating chuckle, but didn't shudder his conscience. Well before online delivery services became commonplace due to the pandemics, Costello was a bit of a pioneer customer. He would call an Uber and set his pickup at a drugstore near his apartment. When the driver would call him because he wasn't on site, he would offer the driver $20 to pick up a 1.75 liter of tequila and an 18-pack of whatever Mexican lager was available. He'd already called in his credit card number to the store and authorized a $60 charge. It took some finesse, but since he was in the industry, he had a way with trafficking booze. Anytime he was locked up with immense agoraphobia, he'd give this bit of ingenuity a whirl. He was actually rather successful. Problem was, his drinking became exponentially problematic, so his odds on delivery began to shrink. A Renaissance man never lets adversity get in the way. Costello taught himself to disguise his agoraphobia with watch caps, bandanas, and sunglasses. Hell, he even used an eye patch from a Halloween costume in 2012 as part of his self-prescribed pain relief whenever he needed to go out for supplies. Neighbors began to see Costello as a bit of entertainment. Sadly, he saw this as serious business, while they were happily viewing him as amusement in their customary American daily routines. Where was Jenna when he needed the one person who would understand his madness? Onward he went with his independent studies. Drink until he understands himself completely. Then he could get back to his own goddamn customary American daily routines. At least until one of his imaginary dinner guests responded with a toast of their own. This was the first time any of them said anything other than salute. Here's to fucking outdoors, a fist fight with your doppelganger, and hedging your bets with the devil. This was what Costello heard a grainy shadow say from across the table just before blacking out on his birthday in 2017. Who the fuck are you? I am my own doppelganger, Costello said with both confusion and anger. This was the only thing he saw on video the next day. His friendly, yet dystopian toasts were suddenly being projected through his make-believe guests. Worst of all, he felt cornered by them now. Something elevated their superiority over him. His only solution was to become the alpha again. He had to frighten them with the darkness he'd been holding on to. Costello read about martyrs from various religions shaving their bodies before committing suicide. He was fascinated by not only one's faith being so strong they would end their life, but also performing a ceremony, as if any of that mattered once you were dead. The day after his birthday, the day after he'd been challenged by his own subconscious, he decided to give his toast and then live it out. Here's to ice-cold baptisms, demonizing martyrdom, and shaving your body by candlelight. The grainy shadow dimly responded, touché. Costello filled up his bathtub with ice water, lit a dozen candles, and laid out 3 cheap razors. He filled a pint glass with tequila and drank it down. By the time he settled into the ice water, the tequila settled into his blood. Fortunately, he remembered to set his iPhone up to record before he soaked himself in the tub, because he blacked out before the first razor hit his skin. When he woke up the next day, the video detailed an action that would be the catalyst for months of anxiety in 2024.